Going live. How to master Chinese. My 5 hacks. Long time no see. I'm gonna be sharing my 5 hacks to master Chinese. These are the 5 proven ways that I used, and when I wasn't using them, I wasted years, at least my first year. And then these are the 5 hacks that my clients are using to master Chinese. Let me know if you hear me well, by the way. So it's a long time uh, no see type of live stream. So today we're going to be talking about 5 hacks. I might be writing something on my blackboard here behind me. So the most important thing that everybody misses out on is really the very first hack that I'm going to be talking about. And I call it a hack because nobody knows it. Almost nobody knows it. I myself didn't know it. I thought that it wasn't important. So the most important hack is materials, because people are using all sorts of bullshit materials. For example, Duolingo, apps like this, right? So people are using all kinds of really weird things. Some people say that they can learn the language just by speaking, or just by watching, or just by using some apps, or watching some video courses. And the problem with those materials is that they can engage you for a while. So it's very interesting to use your phone, for example, to connect the picture with the word, and so on and so forth. But the problem is that I'm looking at comments here. Most of the comments are in Russian. Here, what I see, but I would, for Russian, I would recommend you guys to go to another channel which is in Russian. I actually started a YouTube channel in Russian. I translate all my videos to Russian. If somebody understands what I'm saying here, please translate in the chat. And it already has 20,000 followers. I'm really happy about it. I'll be waiting for my second silver plate right there. It'll be really soon. So the very first hack is materials. So I recommend you guys, for learning Chinese, I recommend you guys to use a series of textbooks, because they contain enough material. They're not as engaging. They're not as interesting to work with. They're very boring, but they contain the most information when it comes to learning Chinese. Um, some people who have no idea about textbooks. I remember I was arguing with some hater online on Instagram. He was like, "You cannot learn anything from those old textbooks. It's not real life and stuff." Well, actually, like, yeah, obviously, he doesn't know anything about modern series of textbooks published by Beijing Language and Culture University Press. There are different series of textbooks. There is a series of textbooks which is called Hanyu Jiaochang. You can literally type like Han Yu Jiao Chong in pinyin and you'll find it. And another one, it's called Yu, spoken Chinese. Spoken Chinese, literally, if you learn Chinese with those, if you learn Chinese with those textbooks, you'll be able to go out and you'll be able to talk to people on the market, which you wouldn't be able to normally talk to just by knowing like standard Mandarin. Because Koyu spoken Chinese textbook series has a lot of phrases, a lot of kind of dialect type of expressions, so you'll be able to impress people. Um, I'm Russian, but I understand most of your words. All right, guys. So for Russian people, you can go to featured channels on this YouTube channel, and you can find my Russian YouTube channel, which already has 22,000 followers and millions of views. Which is amazing. So every single video that I have, I'm going to be translating it into Russian. Right now, I have 2 YouTube channels that I'm running, this one and the Russian one, and I also have a course in Russian on how to learn languages. I have my accelerated course, which I also have it in Russian language as well, because I translated it to Russian. So it's absolutely amazing to have audiences from different language backgrounds. Some people understand me from here, some people don't, but it's really amazing. And there's also one crazy thing that I wanted to share. For those who just want to know some value when it comes to foreign languages, me as a Russian, I had an unfair advantage on YouTube, because I'm vlogging in English, and most of my audience came from US or like Europe, or just English speaking countries, or just English speaking audience in general. And I didn't have anybody like I didn't have any comments in Russian. But then I was kind of thinking about it. I started getting millions of views like a couple years ago. And then I was thinking, well, it would be so great if people from my country would watch me. And the thing that I did was really simple. I just literally auto translated my subtitles, English subtitles to Russian, and translated by myself, translated titles of my videos. So I leveraged my knowledge of Russian, and it brought millions of people from Russia to watch my channel. I had, like, before I did that, I had 40,000 subscribers. After I did that, I had 100 plus thousand subscribers. So this is how I used my unfair, sort of speaking, advantage of speaking Russian, being Russian, but vlogging in English for English speaking country, like not for English speaking countries, but for all around the world. The reason why I chose English is because I don't want to be limited by Russian language. Because if I vlogging only in Russian, only people from Russia will watch my content, which is only 120 million people. But the world's population, if like 5 or 6 billion people, and potentially there are like hundreds of millions of people who can watch my channel because I do YouTube in English. So, which is amazing. And I've been working personally with clients from all around the world, helping them master difficult languages such as Chinese as well. So, the very first hack that you need to understand is you need to be working with a series of textbooks because they contain enough information. And I don't want you to 8 billion. Okay, I'm outdated. Okay, 8 billion, somebody said. Fropsy said 8 billion. Okay, I can see most of the comments are in Russian here. Um, all right. All right, great. So, uh, yeah, so basically, the hack that I want to share with you when it comes to materials is a textbook, right? But how do you approach them? Don't approach them in a way that, oh, it's boring, it's a school system, they're just like black and white, I have to open them and study with them. Just view it as an assignment that you need to go through, right? So view it as a mission, as a goal, as something, as some challenge. Like, view it as a challenge. Challenge is a good word. I like it. So because it's something that you're not supposed to succeed in necessarily, but if you succeed, you kind of level up in your skills. So you need to go through text, 3 to 4 textbooks. I would say 3 to 4 textbooks. 3 to 4 textbooks you need to go through in order to I'm not even sure that you whether you can see it or not. I think you can. Oh, yes, you can. You need to go through 3 to 4 textbooks, and I approximately, it's perfectly if it's 400 pages of those textbooks of modern, updated, real life Chinese that is used every single day. When I was studying with those textbooks, literally, I would learn something, I would go out and I would just go to some supermarket or to some just night market, or talk to Chinese people, and I would hear those same phrases I learned during, like, on like in the morning during classes, and I would hear them in the afternoon when interacting with Chinese people, which was absolutely insane because this kind of real life language is really, really, really hard to find in any kind of material. The reason why textbooks are the best is also because you don't have to, like, translate. Let's say you just take a normal book or like a TV show or a movie and you start translating every word. It's also real life language. But why don't you do that? Why do you take textbooks? Because textbooks just digest it for you. First of all, they translate every word that you don't know, they explain everything that you don't know, and that's why it's the best. And they have answer keys, and they have exercises, because it's not enough to understand, it's enough. The most important thing here is to internalize the knowledge that you have, right? Internalizing the knowledge is the most important thing. You can be reading a lot of textbooks in Chinese and understanding every character, every word, and every grammar pattern, but when it comes to speaking, you'll find yourself struggling with most of what you've learned and most of what you thought you'd be able to use, right? So being able to understand is one thing, and being able to use it is another thing. This is what I call internalization of knowledge, right? When you take it inside, when you're able to use it as a skill rather than just understand it and just be able to, like, read it and stuff. So all right. So basically, first thing is you need to go through 3 to 4 textbooks. The guideline that I have on my coaching program, on my Chinese coaching program right now, we sometimes update it But normally, what we do is that we set a guideline of finishing 2.5 pages of Chinese textbook a day, which is 70, roughly 70 pages a month, which is more than 400 pages after 6 months. And it's not only book smart. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about only the first hack out of a few hacks that I promised here. um I'm talking about the first hack. So the first hack is go through 400 pages. Can you do that? Can you do that? This is the question, right? I doubt that you can do it by yourself, because first of all, I couldn't. I never. I don't know. I don't know anybody who can do it by themselves. People are like, well, self learning. Like I can learn by myself. This guy learned by themselves, and this guy learned. But well, they take classes. Okay, they enroll to programs. They have a system. uh it's like, oh, learn by yourself. Okay, learn by yourself. All right, yes, you can learn something by yourself, but it will take you like 10 years. I don't get any proud of speaking just one foreign language, guys. Like, I think it's a great achievement. Like, don't get me wrong, but when people say, "Well, like I learned," I don't. I coach, personally coach 3 to 4 languages just myself, and speaking just one foreign language for me is like walking. It's like breathing. It's like drinking water. It's like such a basic skill that um I don't see any kind of thing to be proud of when people just master only one foreign language, although it's a greatest achievement. So if you don't want to limit yourself to learning only one foreign language for the next 20 years, learning Chinese for the next 20 years, especially with not without gaining any results, please get rid of the thought that you can learn it in a closed room. Close yourself in a closed room without any people, without any teachers, without any explanation, just only textbooks. Although the first hack is great, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can prove me wrong and say, "Hey, I did it. Please do it. Please do it. Please prove me wrong." I would be happy to. I will be happy to know, and I would be happy to know how much time it took you to do it. So, for example, when I was in China, I wanted to learn master Korean, not learn Korean, master Korean on a fluent level. Because when I was in China, I was like, well, I like Korea more, and I want to move to Korea. And the only way I could move to Korea is to work there, is to get a work visa. I'm in Korea actually right now. Just came back from Japan a few days ago. And I was like, there is only one way I can live in Korea, because I'm Russian. I cannot teach English legally, and even illegally, it would be hard to do. I cannot do anything. Like, I wouldn't be able to have any income, any visa. And how can I move to Korea? Well, my plan was like just straightforward: learn Korean by not by yourself, but in China, using the best systems, the best materials, the best methods, and the quickest way to do it. I had only 2 years for that. Out of my 3 years left, first year I couldn't learn Korean because I was mostly focused on Chinese. Second and the third, I was focused on Korean and Chinese together. And third year, I was focused only on Korean. So, and I was like, well, I need to learn Korean without being able to live in Korea, without being able to study in Korea. And when I go to Korea, I'll find work, just normal work at the office, just a job. I was working in marketing. I started working in a small company, then I moved to a bigger company, and I worked in Korea in companies for 2 years, speaking only Korean, and I found my work in Korean. That plan worked out. Same with Chinese people. Was like, oh wow, like Victor, yes, because you lived in China, that's why I speak Chinese. Okay, yeah. Here's the crazy thing: when I went to China, I got placed in intermediate level group. Hello, like, yes, I wasn't like in A level group, like starting from zero. I wasn't starting from like how to write characters, how to write the first 200 characters. I already know this thing, right? Like, I already know that thing. And the thing that I'm trying to say here is that you create your own advantages. You don't wait till you go to the country. I have clients. I have a client. His name is David. He went to China. He is on a group placement test in Harbin Institute of Technology. He went to university that I studied in, and they asked him like, "How long have you been living in China?" He's like, "I just my first week." They're like, "What the hell?" And they're like, "You speak Chinese better than somebody who already studied here for 1 year in China." and this was his like first or second week in China. He was able to rent an apartment, get a SIM card, do all the paperwork, go to police, like solve all the issues with police station with registrations and everything in Chinese, because nobody in Harbin speaks English. People who've been to Harbin, um, they they know that nobody speaks English there. It's not like South Korea, okay? Like people complain that nobody in Japan speaks English. I went to Japan; it was the best Japanese practice environment because Japanese people, they're like they don't care whether you speak Japanese or not. In many cases, they will be speaking to you even if they know that you don't understand. Sometimes like Japanese people were speaking Japanese to my girlfriend. She's Korean. She has like she doesn't know any word, except for just a couple words. She doesn't know anything Japanese. And they were speaking to her and she was like, they didn't care that she couldn't understand. For Japanese people, if you're in Japan, you have to speak Japanese. I felt like it was the mindset. Omoshiroi. Yeah, so 你好. So basically, reading chat in 3-4 languages. Awesome. All right. So what I'm trying to say here is that don't study by yourself. First thing, don't expect that you can go to the country and the language will download itself into your brain. And don't think, oh, Victor lived in Korea and China for a long time, that's why he speaks the languages. It's the opposite. I was able to learn Chinese faster in China because I was speaking Chinese on a basic level. Before I went to China, I could write hundreds of characters. Before I went to China, I could speak and read before I went to China. And then when I arrived to China, it was just a matter of 4 months to become close to conversationally fluent. And 8 months I was fluent, and I was vlogging in Chinese already. Vlogging on Weibo. You can literally search Weijia, it's my name, Weijia Vic on Weibo, and you find my account. And you can see that what I'm saying is real. What I'm saying is actually real. You can let me type it here. You can search for it and you can see it's in 2018. I started publishing videos speaking Chinese. Oh, it was like this. Wei Jia Victor. This is why this YouTube channel actually was started in Chinese, only for Chinese people, when I was vlogging on Weibo. Weibo is like a Chinese Facebook. So I started vlogging in Chinese after like 8 months of living there. Like who does that really? Nobody can do it unless they learn Chinese before they went to China, right? It's really hard. Yeah, I mean it's possible, but it's extremely hard. And I wasn't studying like 5 hours a day, right? I was just having fun. So what I'm trying to say is that and also I noticed people like, yeah, you must be raised in Korea and China, that's why you speak those languages. No, that's an excuse. That's an excuse for many people to say that, well, somebody speaks the language and I can't speak the language. And the reason why they speak the language and I don't is because they either had rich parents who paid for their education somewhere abroad. Not the case with me. B, they were born in an international family or for some reason spent like 5 to 10 years abroad. Not the case with me. C, some other shit. I don't even know what. Like what other excuses? Put me some excuses. Like yes, Weibo, right? Yes, 中文不难，但是韩国语特别难, right? So Chinese not difficult, but Korean is very difficult, I think. Japanese is also very difficult. I think Korean is more difficult than Chinese, but Chinese is also pretty difficult, right? So putting some excuses that people are using in the chat to justify that somebody can speak the language, but they don't. I have clients who became fluent in Chinese, once after they graduated from my program and practiced for half a year to a year. They became fluent. Some of them became conversational in 6 months to a year. Some of them became close to conversational in 4 months on my program. It's crazy. If you want to apply to join my 6-month mentorship, either go down below and go to the page in the description, or go to victortalking.com. Just go to victortalking.com and get my free course. You'll get my free course, and then you'll see the page where you can apply. What are your main reasons for learning Chinese and Korean, other than work, if there is? Okay, so there are different motivations for learning Chinese and Korean, right? So I grew up, although like I said, I didn't have any advantage. I grew up in an Asian part of Russia. I grew up in Vladivostok. It's a small relatively small Russian town, 6,000, 600,000, 700,000 people right now, maybe more. Um, this city is close to Japan, China, and Korea, right? It's like 2 hour flights from all of them. And this is an Asia part of Russia, which means that it was influenced by Japanese culture. Most of the cars in Vladivostok are Japanese. There are a lot of Chinese people. It's like Japanese cars, Chinese people, and Korean noodles. So it's like it's all. And I remember I actually went to some kind of a private school when I was 7 years old, but it was only for 1 year. I went to Korean school. My parents paid. It was the only paid school I went to. Then I dropped out of that school because it was like teachers were beating students. It was like horrible environment. Although it was a private school, pretty expensive school at that time, and really far from our home. So, but I went to that school for a little bit over a year, and I learned Korean alphabet. That, of course, I forgot it after that. But I was exposed to every to Chinese culture, Japanese culture, and Korean culture. I knew the differences between, like, I knew how Chinese characters would look like, how Japanese would look like, and how Korean would look like. I knew that Korean had alphabet and what kind of sounds it would make. So I was kind of introduced to those cultures. And of course, when I started traveling, first time I went to China, I think I was 18 years old. I went to China to just for just like 2 days or something, and just a small Chinese village. And I was just shocked. It was my first time abroad. It was so awesome, and I loved it. And then there were a lot of Chinese people at the university, which I was studying in. And then I won a trip to Japan when I was 19 or 20. Yes, when I was 19. It was only like 1 day or one day in Japan. Then I won the second trip in Japan from a university because I was a good student. I was like winning scholarships and stuff. And yeah, and it just blew my mind. I was like, man, like I need to leave Russia because Russia is so boring, and I need to go to those countries. I love Asia. I just became completely crazy about Asia, like China, Korea. I started traveling. I went to when I was a student, I started earning some money from scholarships, and I saved up some money to go to Shanghai, to Beijing. And yeah, and I absolutely loved it. And I loved China a lot at the time, actually. So, and I was like, well, it would be amazing to win some kind of scholarship to study abroad, because it's so expensive. Like it was so expensive for me to just to I couldn't imagine that. It's just I was just a kid. I couldn't imagine how can I go abroad to study there. And then I basically won a scholarship. I won a scholarship from a Chinese university. It wasn't extremely hard to win for Russians at that time, and there were a lot of people winning that scholarship. It was pretty common. It's Chinese government scholarship, and I went to China to study for 3 years. But instead of learning only Chinese, I learned um, Korean also on a fluent level, close to fluent level, and basics of Japanese language. And then I moved to Korea and I learned Korean before I moved to Korea, and I moved to Korea because I learned Korean. Now I can also speak Japanese without any experience of living in Japan. Yeah, so these are my main reasons. So my main reasons for learning Chinese, Korean, and Japanese is that I love the cultures. First of all, it's just multiple reasons, right? But for me, it's personal life and dating was also very strong because I stopped being interested in dating people from Western countries or from my own country. Uh, Pretty early, pretty early. It was like very interesting to go abroad and to experience something new, and then just it completely changed my brain. Then the first thing, the second thing, yeah, of course, like China is a huge market. If you're learning Chinese, if you're doing some kind of business related to China, I on my program I have clients who do business with Chinese people. They don't want to always rely on translator when doing business. China is a huge market. If you get you know that there are kind of two prices, right? Prices for foreigners and prices for Chinese people, right? Or prices for people who speak Chinese. So basically, if you speak Chinese, you get cheaper prices. You just get better terms with Chinese people because you don't. People think it's just the language, right? People think we're like, well, I can translate with my phone. I will be using AI. I'll be using microchips. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Like I can't explain this. It's not that you master the communication tool, you master something else. You master another personality. It's you master the understanding of the culture. You master the subtleties. No translator, no translation will give you this kind of knowledge and feeling and just another side of your personality unless you actually learn the language, right? So no translator, no app, no chip in your brain, no AI, no chat GPT will give you that. In chat GPT, I tested it for all languages. Not the great tool to learn, to be honest. Not the great tool to learn. I mean, if you want to learn, if you want to speak like a robot, like in a weird way, um not in a very natural way, or if you want to be just completely blanking out on people speak to you because you won't be understanding what they say, because real life language is different from what you would hear from chat gpt. Well, you can use chat gpt for learning. And if you want to spend like 20 years learning the language with no system. So yeah, but obviously you're getting my point, right? So are you planning to move to a western country in the future? No, I'm not planning to move to a western country in the future. I think Asia is the best place on earth to live in. I just came back from Japan. It was absolutely amazing experience, and I think that Korea is better than Japan because Japan is really popular. People think that Japan is the best. I'm like, yeah, yeah, it's the best. Go to Kyoto, most popular places. You'll see it's like long lines everywhere, too many people, too inconvenient, too slow, and Korea is extremely undervalued, and I hope it will stay this way. Korea is the best place for me, really. Or I mean, China, Korea, Japan. I love these three countries the most. I absolutely love them. If you want to come to Korea and experience the best, if you want to experience the best, I would recommend to go to Jeonju. Jeonju, right? So it's J. If you type it in English, it would be like, let me type it here. Jeonju. I think Gyeongju. I'm not sure which would be the English one, but I'll type it. Gyeongju, like this. Gyeongju. And Jeju-do, Jeju Island. So I would recommend these three places. Visit these three places and then go to Japan and compare and see for yourself. Go to Kyoto, go to Osaka, go to Tokyo, compare to go to Okinawa and compare Japan with Korea and let you know how it goes. I like Korea much more. I've been living here for 4 years, working, traveling all around the country, all around the country. I went to more cities than an average Korean person. I travel every month. Every month, I go to either a new country or a new Korean city, and I travel by plane, by car, all around the country in Korea. Different cities I went to. Beautiful country, the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. I would like to visit Southern Europe, like Greece, or some probably Italia, Greece. Yeah, some southern countries, I guess. But yeah, right now it's not the best way to, not the best time to go there. So getting back to the topic, right? So what I was talking about the hacks to learn Chinese, right? So the first hack is finish 3 to 4 textbooks, go to through 400 pages. Don't do it by yourself. Do it with a teacher or coach. You can apply to join my 6-month Chinese transformation if you go to the page in the description, right? Or you can get my free course, and then you'll go to that page if you just go to victortalking.com, and then you can just select the language you're learning, get the free course, and apply to join any kind of program after that, Chinese program in particular here, right? So the first hack is yes, go through those books. Second hack is don't do it by yourself. It's the second hack. uh how to know, like, because there are like hundreds of teachers, right? Like thousands of teachers right now online and everywhere, and what is the difference between all of them? I myself work with teachers, I myself coach teachers how to teach people. And the problem with teachers that I find is that there are a lot of them, but one of them, just which is really obvious to me, because my girlfriend is learning English right now, and she's like, Victor, like, the teacher doesn't correct me, she doesn't correct my pronunciation, she types it after I finish the sentence, and there is no like feedback loop happening right in the moment. Because here's the thing, to form an instinct, you need the shortest millisecond time frame from the action to the feedback. It should be that you get a feedback as quickly as possible to form an instinct, right? It's like, imagine that you're just like, you're 2 year old, like when you're like 3 year old, when you're 3 years old, and when you would touch something very hot, you'd immediately take your hand away, and you would immediately learn that you shouldn't touch it. The feedback wouldn't come to you after 5 minutes. You wouldn't feel hot after 5 minutes. You would feel it instantly, right? So instant feedback, this is what I say, right? So this is one of the principles that I coach my teachers to use, and I also give instant feedback. This is what I give to my clients, because in order to form a correct Chinese pronunciation, you need instant feedback. I always tell the story when I was basically just a second, let me see the interface here. Yes. So basically, when I was learning, when I was in China, I was already fluent in Chinese. I was just speaking with everybody. I was speaking 24/7. I was still making, I still made a crazy mistake. So I went to a restaurant. They were also selling coffee as well. And they were supposed to give me soup. But I also had coffee on the table. And I had some dish and coffee on the table, and I wanted to get that soup. But soup in Chinese, I can type it here in the chat if you want. Who knows how to say soup in Chinese? Let me type it here. Who knows how to say it? Who knows how to say it? Tang, right? First stone, tang, radical for water on the left, right? And all right. So it's the first stone, right? So how do you say sugar in Chinese? How do you say sugar? Type it here. How do you say sugar in Chinese? Tang, right? It's the second tone, right? Second tone. So they all have the same pinyin. They have the same uh, kind of the same pronunciation but different tone. And I said that I wanted soup, but I said 我要糖, and I said like it with the second tone, right? And they brought me sugar, and I wanted soup, and it took me like 15 minutes to realize what happened. So just a small like tiny mispronouncing of things in Chinese can lead to complete misunderstanding. And Chinese pronunciation, if you want to speak broken language, you can and be hardly understood, you can learn sort of speaking by yourself with no feedback, no instant feedback from professionals, or you can get instant feedback from professionals, and you can build pronunciation fundamentals within a month or two, and you can just build that instinct where you speak, you don't even think. When you pronounce, you don't even think too much, or even if you do think, you use minimal resources because you build your instincts. So right now, speaking from a language, I've never been to any speaking English speaking country. My English is not perfect. I've never been to Australia, America. You like I've never been to any English speaking country. Europe, Western part of the world. I've never been to those countries. Some people are commenting on my accent. I don't care. I can speak English on the level that I don't even think when I speak, and it's a foreign language to me. When I speak Korean, the same thing happens, right? The same thing. Like, because I'm speaking Korean 24/7, I don't even think. So yeah, so basically, this is the second hack. Don't learn by yourself. Use teachers or coaches with instant feedback abilities, where they can give you instant feedback right when you mispronounce things, right when you have to say tang, but you say tang, they say no, tang, and they explain. And next time, you know that you don't have to that you know your systematic mistakes. I call it systematic mistake. Actually 80 to 90% of mistakes, of pronunciation mistakes, can be fixed just by explanations and by constant instant feedback loops, because most of the mistakes people make are systematic, which means that they repeat. So if you fix this one mistake, one or two mistakes, you can fix like most of the pronunciation the person has. Would it be effective if I started to learn two languages at the same time? People ask me this question. This is just like the most frequently asked question. I have to record a video on that. People ask me like, I really literally had this question like hundreds of times. It's like for the last 3 years I have this question. I mean, I learn German and Japanese for an hour every day, switching them up. Or should I focus myself to learn one of them. So this is the same question that I had back in the days. You should learn one language until you become conversational in it. At least, what do I call conversational? Also, my program, it's called Zero to Conversational in Chinese Accelerator. Why what is conversational? I always have this word conversational, because I always say you can get conversational in any language in 3 to 6 months, but in order to get fluency actually takes years, at least 1 year, I think, right? Because fluency is actually extremely high level of language proficiency, where you can speak on the level that you don't have to think when you speak, and you can talk about different topics. You can work in this language. You can do business presentation in this language. This is what I call to be fluent, right? But when it comes to the conversational level, 6 months to a year, it depends on how you learn. And again, like I said, if you're learning with the best materials, with the best system, with the best coaches or teachers. But the question is, the answer is that you shouldn't pursue learning two languages at the same time if at least one of them is not on the conversational level. If you speak, for example, Japanese already, what does it mean conversational level? It means that you can speak for 1 hour, for 2 hours, for 3 hours without switching to English. You can go to Japan, you can freely communicate with people, make friends, go on dates, make friends in this language without switching. Just do 24/7 only Japanese without switching to English, right? So I learn Japanese only in Japanese every single week. I have a 4 hour Japanese immersion where I speak, write, read only Japanese language, only Japanese for 3 to 4 hours. 3 hours of speaking, 1 hour of writing and testing characters. So this is what I call conversational level. I consider myself to be conversational in Japanese, not fluent like I'm in Korean, Chinese, or other languages. But so I can theoretically also learn other language at the same time, but I choose to learn Japanese until I become fluent. So I would recommend to focus only on one language. Short answer. Until you become very good in it, very good in it. Then you can, because it will slow you down. I was trying to learn Chinese and Korean at the same time during like my second year in China. It didn't work. What works is that you can learn one language for 6 months, and then you can put it on pause and learn another language for 6 months. But you need to do it in a very intense way. At least spend 40 to 60 minutes a day on learning. I recommend 1 hour. Our program guideline is 1 hour. My Chinese program guideline, if you want to know it behind the scenes, 1 hour a day, 2.5 pages a day, 400 pages after 6 months, 5 to 10 minutes a day of conversational practice during the first month, and then it grows. And then after 3 months, people can speak like for, let's say, people can answer like 20 random questions. After 6 months, they can speak like for 30 minutes. So, okay, let's look at other questions. Okay. Guys, I will. What about the accent? What about the accent? Great question. So accent can be mastered in different ways, right? The accent in terms of the native Chinese pronunciation, right? So if you want to sound native in Korean or Chinese or other languages, of course you need immersion. But even if you don't go to that country, you can have this kind of, I call it artificial immersion. When you can watch hours and hours and hours of content in this language. I call it massive exposure principle. On my 17 steps program, I call it massive exposure principle. Um, and you can watch. There are people who watch 2 to 3 hours of Korean dramas, and their Korean pronunciation is just completely insanely native. And I just envy them because I'm not interested in any kind of K dramas or K-pop or anything like this. So if I were interested in that, in those things, my Korean would be even better. So try to immerse yourself in watching this, like every like content in this language. This is the best thing in order to develop the accent, because the more you hear, people think that you become good at speaking or pronouncing by speaking. It's actually not true, not completely true. There are different dimensions. One of the dimensions is that you need to have a massive exposure in it. If you're good at listening and reading and all those things, you'll get good at speaking automatically. People think that you get good at speaking just by speaking. No, it's not true. Also, you cannot get better at speaking without any feedback. So because I found myself saying the same things without, let's say, without any corrections, same things over and over again in Japanese back when I was learning. If I don't get any corrections, if I don't study anything new, if nobody pushes me to use new grammar structures, I would be improving. It's impossible to improve at this point uh, without any feedback, right? So I'll be just saying the same things over and over again. So if the teacher that you're working with in any language, if they don't actively correct you and push you to use some new patterns and new vocabulary, you're just wasting your time really, because you'll just hit crazy plateau. You can reach conversational level. I reached conversational level in Japanese. I could kind of limit, hold very long conversations for 1 hour, for 2 hours, sometimes using my phone translating certain words. But the teacher didn't correct me. They wouldn't push me. Like I would be using just the same grammar patterns. So this is why it's very important. Like you can literally learn the language for 5 years and be nowhere. It's crazy. It's really hard. It's really hard. If you're in the wrong system, it's impossible to do. It's like people are like, I'm like, well, you want to learn the language by yourself. Why don't you want to be your own dentist? You can theoretically be your own dentist, doctor, whatever. It's like I call learning language by yourself, I call it being your own dentist. For me, it's completely ridiculous. I tried to do it. I tried to do it back in the days. My first year of learning Chinese, I grasped only basics, and it was such a waste of time because I was working with wrong series of textbooks, very outdated vocabulary and everything, very outdated methods. I didn't identify my learning type. My learning type is listener. The three learning types, if you didn't know: listener, reader, and writer. Right. So what do you do? Where are the mix of all of them, of all three of them? What are you? Are you a reader? Do you like reading more, or do you like listening more? Do you like writing more? Right. So again, we're the mix of all of them. For example, me, I like listening. So I'm learning. If I learn new words, I'll be listening more than reading and writing. Then the second one is reading, and the third one is writing, which means that if I write, back in school when I was in public school in Russia, I would be writing everything, like, because everybody's writing is like the teacher says, write everything that I say, is you like writing everything, and then you would find out that the same thing would be in the textbook. Like, what the hell is that, dude? Like, I was writing for the whole time the same freaking sentences the teacher was reading from the textbook. I was just writing. I would be just writing the textbook in my notebook. It's like it wouldn't make sense for me. Later on, I realized that I memorize close to zero when I write, close to zero. And so some people are like, unless I write, I can't memorize it." Guess what? Read the book, which is called Managing Oneself by Peter F. Drucker, the founder of management, how people call him. Um, there are different types of perceptions, right, when it comes to people. There are different types, right? So in language learning, readers, writers, listeners, three main types. Three main types. Um, all right, so for English, I would say, so thank you so much for kind words, but I would say for English, one thing that helped me a lot was reading books. It's massive exposure principle in my 17 steps or accelerator. Choose the topic that you're extremely interested in, like to the point that you can watch it for hours or read for hours. I was reading business, self-help, and self-development books in English more than I read anything else. I was listening to audiobooks, I was reading books a lot. So I was studying at the university, which is located on Russian island, and my home is like one point it's like I would spend 3 hours on daily commute by bus. What do you think I was doing during those 3 hours? I would listen to audiobooks in English. I would listen to audiobooks in English every day for 3 hours. And then I would get home. I would get back home and watch videos in English for 2 or 3 more hours. So I would have like 5 to 6 hours of exposure, and I was translating every word I couldn't understand when I was reading. When I was visually reading, I was listening to audiobooks, and I was watching YouTube videos. So I would be like putting in 5 to 6 hours. I would listen to more English than Russian when being in Russia. When being in Russia, which is crazy. So that's why I've never been to any English speaking country. Again, there are a lot of, mostly it's Russians. Like they're, oh, your pronunciation sounds. So I have a lot of different accents. I don't even think that my accent in English is purely Russian because I speak Korean all the time, right? So 24/7. I have accent in Chinese when it's after speaking Korean, and in English and in other languages. My Russian even sounds weird to me sometimes. So, I mean, only Russians care about my accent in English, but I feel confident when I speak it. This is what I feel. I feel completely 100% confident. I sometimes, oftentimes, can express myself much better in English than in any other language, even my own. So, and English is pretty precise language. I love Russian as well, but I don't feel like pointing out an accent is extremely important here. Although I don't see any comments, just the thing that I've noticed. So yeah, so basically the second hack of learning Chinese, like I said, so the first hack, material. Second hack, guidance with instant feedback loops. This one, if you work with some kind of teacher online and they don't correct you, you're just wasting your time, like I said, right? So these are the two hacks for some of you who joined just a couple seconds ago, as I see. The third hack for learning Chinese, I mentioned it before. I call it, let me put it in the chat here. I call it 214. Who can finish the phrase? 214 what? Who can finish? I'll see. I want to see who can finish this phrase, to see whether you watched my past live streams or whether you have any knowledge of that. 214 what? What is the third hack? 214 what? What should you do? What is 214 number? Guys, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Nobody nobody knows. Nobody knows. I'll be waiting. 214. Something you need to learn to exponentially 10x your memorization of characters, to become absolute genius in learning characters. Absolute genius. If you learn, I went to Japan a couple days ago, and I could read, no, not 214 words. Who knows, guys? Come on, like, if you, I mean, I've been, sometimes I'm like, should I repeat myself? Should I say the same stuff I said in my recent live stream or in my other videos? And now I can see I should repeat myself hundreds of times, because nobody remembers or nobody watched that. Who knows? 214 of what? I had smart people here in the chat speaking Chinese, Russian, and English. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Please. Please, 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 please. 214 of what? 3, 2, 1. 214 what? Okay, in Russian is keys. In English is radicals. In Russian is it's keys. In Russian is ключи. But it's keys, yes, radicals. Who knows what is the radical? Radical can be the character independently also, but it can also be only the part of the character. This is why it's a radical, right? 214 radicals are the elements that will help you to master Chinese characters, understand them, memorize them, recognize them, guess the meaning of them 10x faster than any kind of thing. And nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. Everybody's like, how to master Chinese? You need to do, like, I don't know, like, dude, like, this is just such a fundamental thing. I almost feel embarrassed talking about it. Like, this is so, it's like, hey guys, do you know how to walk? It's like, you walk, you just put one foot in front of the other. This is so ridiculously easy. Everybody should know it. Actually, I'm on live stream for the first time, but love your content. Thank you so much. So 214 radicals, right? You can Google radicals by yourself now, and you can see, right? You can see those radicals. You can see how they look like, and you can start learning them. So this is, I have a link that I sent to my clients to see for the best website that I recommend for learning radicals. I don't have it now here, but yes, find the best ones. Find the best. So it's not only radicals, it's also the positions, different positions in the character, because they look sometimes differently. Radical for fire, radical for a person, radical for water, sun, day, moon, whatever. Eye, gold, metal. So many radicals, right? 214 meanings you need to memorize. Meanings, right? So it's extremely important. So this is the hack number 3. Hack number 1: go through 3 to 4 textbooks, finish 400 pages during the next 6 months. This is what we're doing with on my program. If you go to victorytalking.com, you can register to get a free course, and then you'll get to the page where you can register to apply for my 6-month Chinese mentorship if you don't want to waste years. After 6 months, you'll be able to hold a conversation in Chinese, make friends, answer tens of questions, read hundreds of characters, understand all the radicals, 214 radicals from here. Given if you study for 1 hour a day, 40 to 60 minutes a day, and it will be the easiest process to go through those 400 pages, because 400 pages is quite complex. Can sound complex. Sometimes I'm like, well, 200, 400 pages, 70 pages a month. I was thinking it would be kind of a stretch for clients. People who study for only like 40 minutes a day, taking weeks off sometimes, they're just like completely chill. I was like, what page are you on? Like 240. Like, how long have you been studying? For 2 months. And I saw it on the Korean program and Chinese program that we have, and not very difficult to do, really. Not very difficult. People with full-time jobs, not full-time language learners, right? It's everybody can do it. This is what I'm trying to say. If you study for 40 to 60 minutes a day, everybody can do it within the right system. So yeah, so go to victortalking.com, like I said, and get my register, choose your language, and get my free course first. This is what I would recommend you to do, the fundamentals. This is the best thing. So getting back to it. Anata wa watashi, what's that? Anata wa watashi wo? Oh, do you understand me? Huh. Yes, do you understand me? This is what you asked in Japanese. Funny enough, I don't know the pronunciation of all Japanese words, but I understand that certain one. I know the meaning, but I don't know the pronunciation. So it's like I went to Japan. You can type a lot of characters here to test me, like in Japanese, and I can see I know the meaning because of Chinese, really, because in Chinese would be lidia to know. I can even type it here in Chinese. See how many seconds it will take me to type. Three, the word that you type. Three, oh shit, I didn't switch. Two, one, this one. Okay? This is the word in Chinese, 理解. していますか? But yeah. So basically, hack number 4. So I talked about 3 hacks: textbooks, instant feedback from professionals, and 214 Chinese radicals. What would be the 4th hack here? What would be the 4th hack? The 4th hack is what I call social learning. So there are apps which I'm not promoting here, like Hello Talk, for example, where you can go and you can practice the language there. So I was just only talking till this point, till hack number 3. I was talking about how to become book smart. So I was talking about input, but now I'm going to be talking about output. So social learning is the concept that you learn language socially. You are not by yourself learning with a textbook. You make Chinese friends. So, for example, when I was in China, when I was studying Korean in China, I would go to a cafe which Korean students would normally go to, and I would just literally study Korean there, and I would make friends with people, with Korean people there, make friends there. And this is how I would meet Korean people. And if you know any area, for example, if you learn Chinese, you can go to Chinatown. Don't just ask short questions, try to have long conversations. You have tens of videos on my channel that you can watch and see how I talk to people, right? And those are not some people, oh, you say you speak the same thing every single time. Well, there are not so many things that you can say to a person, right? They ask you, where are you from? How old are you? It's like, it's conversations, of course. And this is easier for you because you can learn, you can earn, you can learn and earn after that. Once you learn Chinese, you'll earn more. Doing business with Chinese people. Yeah, 私は日本語が so basically, hey Victor, I've been watching your videos. Great content, buddy. From the thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So I'm gonna getting distracted here. Sorry. So go to Chinatown. Go find Chinese people. Chinese people are everywhere. This is like you have more Chinese people in any country, right? Than people of any other nation. So go and talk to Chinese people. If you buy something from them, use those simple phrases. On my program, I give a task to create a Q&A bank or FAQ bank. Frequently asked questions in Chinese and answers that people can ask you. Where are you from? What's your name? Why do you learn Chinese? Have you been to China? What Chinese food do you like? Do you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, and so on and so forth? So, so basically, this is this is how you can start conversations with people. This what I have my own kind of structure on social learning. You can do it online and offline. I have a video on that on this YouTube channel as well. Online apps, right? Hello Talk apps are good for social learning, right? Not for learning the language. 谢谢你看了你几个视频后，我想学习汉语。Okay, very good. Okay, so that's great. That's great. I sometimes also can see like not here in particular, but sometimes I can see people writing comments under the video, but they're like Google translated, and I can see that. It's kind of funny. So yeah, so this is hack number 4 is social learning. How does it look practically? How does social learning look like? So when I was in China, and I was when I was learning Chinese, and like I said, that when I was learning Korean, I would communicate with Korean people, and I would find Korean people everywhere, right? Even when being in another country. When I was in Russia, I'm from Vladivostok. There are a lot of Korean people traveling there, so I would approach them and talk to them. Literally would approach random strangers and talk to them. For me, it's not hard to do. You can watch my old interviews from China and Korea. Random people, like I approached like tens of people, hundreds of people, and I made videos of that. So um, hundreds of people off camera and tens of people on camera. So this is how you do it. You just speak, you just talk to people, you just make friends. This is it. This is social learning. But I have my own structure for that. This is how you do it offline. You can also do it online. People are like, well, like I don't have anybody. Hello Talk. Go to Hello Talk voice chats. Talk to people there. I'm not promoting it. So this is hack number 4. This hack number 4, right? And the last hack that I would like to tell here is actually because this last stream is called how to do it without going to the country, right? How to learn Chinese without going to China, how to master Chinese without going to China. And so the whole mindset that I want you to have is that you need to master Chinese on a conversational level within the next 6 months without going to China, right? Without going to China, you need to master Chinese within the next 6 months. But hack number 5 is create actual plans of going to China, even if you're American. I have American clients who were able to go to China. Create actual plans of going to China and live there or stay there for as long as possible, right? Either for traveling or for work or for study, for anything. This is the hack number 5. I still, like I said, like I recommend you to I would urge you to become conversational in Chinese in 6 months from now, before you go to China. And once you go to China, I want you to become fluent, because you can become fluent in China like in a matter of like just over the course of the year, really. Only if you studied Chinese before you went there and you achieved a conversational level. What is conversational level? I say always conversational level. Can be B1, can be B2, but it's a level that lets you to speak the language without switching to any other language, right? Okay, so I'm going to be starting blocking some weird Russians here. Okay, blocked one guy. Great. So if I see weird comments here, I'm going to be blocking. Is it true that Russian natives that eventually learn languages due to the phonetic diversity of Russian language? I don't know. I don't think so, because you can see polyglots from all around the world. You can see polyglots from Japan learning a lot of languages on a very high level. You can see polyglots from all countries. I think it does not depend as much on what country you're coming from. It depends on your attitude, your passion, your exposure. I think it depends on those things, your motivation and stuff. I don't know if I talked about it before, but do you recommend doing the exercise section in the textbook? I only do the reading vocab. This is what I say. Like the most important thing, you don't learn only by just passively learning, reading, understanding the grammar rules of vocabulary, and just repeating. You mostly actually because your goal is not to learn and get knowledge. Your goal is to get a skill, right? There are a lot of like professors of Chinese language. Actually, let me try to do my live on Instagram too here. I forgot to turn on my Instagram. They're all of professors. They know a lot about the language, everything, the history, the characters, but they can't speak. There are like professors like this in Korea, like Chinese professors. They can't speak well. So if you want to become a professor who cannot speak well, you can skip exercise section. But if you want to speak well, you need to do as many exercises as possible. Let me see whether I can go live here or not. All right, add a title: Chinese hex. So I'm gonna go live on my Instagram. I'm not sure how should I do it, vertically or horizontally. It's my first time, and I have. Wait a second. Do I use the right account for that? Yes, I do. Live. 500,000 followers on Instagram. Let's see how many people join. I have 500,000 followers here, but just a few people joined. Probably not the best time to do lives. Chinese hacks. Exercise. So on my program for Korean and Chinese, I always emphasize exercise is the most important part. It's more important than anything. It's more important than reading, like reading the main text. More important than writing. More important than what else do you do? Like it's the most important thing. It's the really the most important thing. Vertically, yeah. For learning English, I would recommend any series of textbooks, but there is a great grammar book. It's called English Grammar in Use. How fast you learn Korean? Again, it's really hard to answer these kind of questions because I was wasting a lot of time on like learning Korean and Chinese at the same time. Once I focused on it, I started speaking within a year. Um, but again, it's like fluency has multiple levels, right? Fluency has multiple levels. People are like, how do you become fluent? Or I would target conversational level first. All right, so let me put it here. I'm not sure whether people can hear me if I put it like this. All right, Instagram Live. All right. Hello. Hello. Okay, it's my first time going on Instagram. Going live on Instagram. Hello, hello guys. Hello, hello. Bonjour. All right. So, hey guys, I'm actually live streaming right now. Let me show you. Can I switch the camera? Yeah, I can switch. I'm live streaming. Here's me. Here's me. Here's me here live streaming. And I'm live streaming on YouTube. If you want a better audio quality, if you want to rewatch my live stream, I was live streaming on 5 hacks to learn Chinese. Hello, Turkey. Hello. As opposed to YouTube, YouTube is all Russian right now, the chat. But here I have a lot of people from all around the world on Instagram. Russians couldn't get there because there were no Russian subtitles. How many languages do you speak? I speak 5. Do you learn Arabic? Salam alaikum wa rahmatullah. No, not yet. Not yet. I'm still learning Japanese. Bom dia China, Austria. All right, all right. So I have more international audience there. Here I have. Okay, so I actually should. I think I should change my name of my YouTube channel from Victor Talking to Victor Talking Russian or something. I don't know because there are only Russian people right now. I have a Russian channel which is called Viktor Sazonov. If you go to featured channels, you can find it. It already has 20K followers, and I'll be translating for Russian people. I can promise you guys, I'll be translating every video. Все видео будут переведены. Основные. Мы над этим работаем. 你要讲什么？我已经讲完了。I already finished speaking about 5 Chinese hacks. All right, who can put them in the chat here on YouTube? 5 Chinese hacks that we are talking about for learning Chinese, for accelerating your Chinese progress. First hack: finish 3 to 4 Chinese textbooks. Finish 400 pages, 420 pages, about 420 pages within the next 6 months. I try to finish 2.5 pages a day only and study for 40 to 60 minutes a day. Second hack, I don't remember them quite right now in the order. Second hack, don't do it by yourself because Chinese pronunciation and grammar is very subtle. Do it with the feedback, with the get feedback from people, right? From professionals. If you want to enroll to my 6-month Chinese transformation, go to victorytalking.com. For Instagram, you can click the link in the description of my profile, and get my free course first, and then you'll get to the page where you can apply for my coaching program. We work with private coaching and also very small groups, very targeted. People already speak Chinese in the groups who started like a few months ago. Yes. So this is the hack number 2. Hack number 3 is learn 214 Chinese radicals. Just Google Chinese radicals and learn them. That's so amazing, guys. Like streaming on two, like on here and here is so freaking amazing. Oh, somebody put it. Okay, reading book. It's not reading book, my friend. It's not just reading book. Okay, so going through textbooks, right? Series of textbooks from Beijing University Press. 3 to 4 textbooks. 4 textbooks is my recommendation. Finishing 400 pages. Do it as an assignment for the next 6 months. Do it with get constant feedback from a professional. So 200, it doesn't sound very romantic, like, oh, you can learn by yourself in the closed room. Sorry, I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just sharing with you my experience. I tried to do it in a closed room. It didn't work. Okay. So next one. So 214 Chinese radicals. Then the fourth one is social learning. Basically, go out, find Chinatown in your area, do it offline, talk to people. If you don't know how to talk to people, watch tens of my videos on my YouTube channel, which is called Victory Talking, right? So yeah, and you can do it online as well. You also saw my videos from Omi TV, practicing language online. You can do it on Hello Talk, voice chats. You can talk to people, chat with people. I had a client on my program. I was pushing him with Hello Talk for like 2 months. He was learning Korean. And then it turned out to be that he found a wife from Hello Talk, and the girl just flew all the way from Korea to England. This is what happens on my program. All right. So let me see the chat here on Instagram. I already know Arabic and English. I should experiment with like inviting people to talk to me. Some people are like, I saw some haters like, yeah, you can like, oh, those you just say a few phrases. I'm like, yes, I have podcasts in Chinese, man. Dude, what the fuck do you say? I can invite anybody for Chinese live and speak only Chinese for whatever time, for in Korea or Korean, because I've been speaking those languages anyway. I don't care, especially Korean. Past 4 years, for me, it's harder to speak Chinese now because I haven't been speaking it for 4 years. But Korean, I've been speaking it for 4 years straight. Every single day, I speak Korean more than any other language. I became conversational in Korean before I came to Korea. My strategy, always take this strategy. Like, just the strategy that I give you, please apply it. Before you travel to the country, at least before you travel. I went to Japan. I never lived in Japan. Every single interaction I had there, 90% of interactions, some people were speaking English because there were like a lot of foreigners there. But 90% of interactions I had in Japan, oh shit. Oh shit. Wait a second. 90% of interactions I had in somebody called me and it closed. I had in Japan were only in Japanese. Hotel reservation, restaurants, I asked for directions 20 times, I think, or like 30 times, because Google Map didn't work and like it didn't work correctly. We couldn't find the way to go to certain places. And I was only speaking Japanese, really every single day in Japan. I was speaking Japanese. I was like, we were at the restaurant. People are, I don't know how to practice the language. I don't feel confident. I was literally 2 Japanese people were sitting next to me, and they heard me speaking Japanese. They said, "Oh, his Japanese is so good," and I was speaking Korean at the same time, so they got a little bit shocked. And then they're like, "Where are you from?" Like, "Oh, you speak Japanese so well." I was like, "Oh," and I started speaking with them in Japanese. People were like, "What do you do?" Like, "Oh, you shoot those videos, and you're just so like loud and stuff." Man, most of the compliments and crazy situations I get in my life, they're not on camera. That's the biggest regret I have. I just want to have a camera here, like literally everywhere. I want to have a like camera crew following me. We'd have so much content, so much content. So when I actually go out to shoot a video, it's like I don't feel really well. Sometimes I'm not very talkative, and then something crazy happens. And I'm like, this is so like insane, and I just started like laughing like crazy. People are like, you're loud. That's why people react. I'm like, who cares? Um, So will you upload the Japan vlog or content? Yes, yes, yes. Unfortunately, my speaking there is was very limited, but you can see how I was practicing. I was speaking Chinese, Korean, and Japanese in that video in Japan, traveling Kyoto or in Osaka in particular. Respect konnichiwa. Okay, guys. Okay, from Instagram. People, let's do something. How to do a split? Can I invite somebody to do a split? How to do a split screen? I actually have to. I think I'll have to go in a second. It was my longest live stream. Probably I have to. I will try to go for 2 hours. Right now it's been 1 hour since I went live. Right, and the fifth hack that I said. So I mentioned four hacks for learning Chinese. The fifth hack is create plans for going to the country. And if you want my system, like the fundamentals, just the level, like the zero level of my system is free, right? So you can go to victortalking.com and you can get my free course. It's an actual course. Like you just register for it, put in your email, what language you're learning, and then there is a video course. You can finish it in 1 hour, I think. But these are 12 video lessons. And then you can also hop on the call to apply for my coaching if you want to go further. But you can try to go through those fundamentals. This is what actually helped me. And I don't proud myself on learning those languages as much as I proud myself on helping people to learn them, because I think it's harder to do, to learn, to teach somebody, to help somebody to learn the language rather than learn the language by yourself. I have cleared level 3 HSK but still don't have fluency in Chinese. Do you have suggestions for me? Um, I would say there is a technique which I teach on my coaching. It's called structured learning, structured practice. So you take a text from your HSK Chinese textbook or whatever textbook, and then you try to recall it. You write down a couple keywords from every sentence. You look at those keywords, or you look at the beginning of the sentence and try to finish it. You look at those keywords and try to recall the text by recalling first sentence, then first and second sentence, then first, second, third sentence, and then you do it like a snowball, right? And then then you try to eliminate those keywords, and then you try to recall the whole text. Do it with every lesson from the textbook that you say HSK 3 level textbook. If you speak actually on the level of that textbook, you'll become conversational pretty damn quickly. Okay, it's called structured practice. Why is it called structured practice? One of my like elite techniques for learning languages. Elite, like the best. I learned it in China. I didn't create it. Teachers there would just make us recall the text. The best teachers, not everybody, the best of the best. And they would make us just memorize the text, but not with cramming it, but by understanding, not by cramming, but by understanding. If you Why is it structured? It's because every single time when you do it, you end up using new vocabulary structures and new grammar structures, and you end up internalizing them, because when you speak them out, when you actually recall, you'll realize that you'll notice more things, more patterns in the language. And next time when you speak to people, you'll be able to, all of a sudden those phrases will pop up. Also, when you go through exercises, it will also accelerate you. uh on Instagram for a couple of minutes. Okay. um I need to, guys, I'm really sorry because I joined Instagram right when I finished this live stream. It's been an hour since I'm on YouTube, so you can rewatch it on YouTube. But it's really sad that I just forgot to turn on my Instagram live. Next time I'll just be live on two platforms. So I might be live every week, actually. Yes, the link doesn't work. to my course, right? Any of my course, if you're in Russia, it works only with VPN. And I always say it. If somebody buys my course in Russia, I always say that you need to VPN to access it. Omi TV wife. Yo, guys, I'll address a couple more questions on language learning, and then I'll probably hop off because it's a little bit overwhelming for me. I took a test. I thought I was an extrovert. After working at a Korean company for one of the Korean companies for more than a year, I turned out to be an introvert. I took a test and then I answered questions in the way that it showed that I'm like 55% introvert. So I'm for 1 hour here, but for me it's really hard to keep talking. Although my channel is called Victor Talking. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll be hopping out soon. Let me know. Let me know. I'll address a couple more questions and I'll be hopping out soon. Go to victortalking.com, get my free course, apply to join my 6-month Chinese mentorship. If there are time slots left in the calendar that you'll see, if there are no time slots left, we're already full. We might, but sometimes we're full out for like a couple days. There are no slots in the calendar to book a call. But if you go there, you can register and you can see whether you can apply or not. It's for minority. It's like two people out of like 1,000 probably like will join. Is there a way to use your subconscious brain to your advantage? I have my most popular live streams is actually my subconscious brain on how to use the subconscious mind to learn languages. It was my main thing that I was studying and I was really interested in by myself. Um, it's the best topic. I cannot talk about it right now. I'll just say your brain learns the language even if you don't actively like try to use your subconscious brain. It does learn, does help you. The best thing that you can do is just like just on a superficial level, surface level, is to learn, start putting in 1 to 2 hours a day, every day, and watch and do massive exposure, which is watch 2 or 3 hours of content or read content or listen to content in this language for hours every single day. Your brain will get nuts, like completely. You'll realize that so after 2 months you'll be like, Victor, I had a dream in Chinese or whatever. I have clients saying that like after 3 months on the program they're like, I had a dream in Chinese, speaking Chinese. I was like, it's really common because your brain is literally physically creates it's creating neural networks related to speaking this language in your brain. It's a physical process, and it happens when you're not even learning. It happens when you're sleeping or doing something else. Your brain is relearning, rewiring itself um, while you're doing something else. But again, it's impossible to subconsciously learn a foreign language if you're not doing anything. It's like, oh, I'm not doing anything, so I'm like passively listening and passively like I had the clients like, oh, like I'm driving my car and I'm like listening to audios and I'm like, dude, I was like, you're not learning like this. You need to open the damn book, sit down on the chair, open the book and learn. This is not how you learn just by listening to a language in the car. It's not how you learn. I'm sorry, it doesn't sound really motivating, but I just say it very directly. It's if you're just only listening, it's a waste of time. Um, all right, guys, I will hop off right now. It's my longest live stream. All right, let's hop off here. So if you all right, so if you want to watch this live stream, watch it on the repeat, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Go to my from Instagram, guys. Go to my YouTube. Go to my YouTube, which is called Victor Talking. You can Google Victor Talking, search it on YouTube, and subscribe to my YouTube channel and look at the this live stream. All right, thank you so watch this live stream. Thank you so much, guys. I'm really excited to be here today, and I guess I'll see you next week because I'll be here pretty often. I think. Thank you so much. See you. type of question to answer? How can I learn basic words before? All right. I forgot that I didn't even finish the live stream here. That's crazy. I was saving my. All right, guys. See you soon.